Our year-long look at Georgia's juvenile justice system continues with a sharp look into teens' trauma and trouble. We've examined the statistics and learned that crime often begins with those born into trouble. From mental illness and poverty to children being stigmatized by race, Georgia's children are often born into difficult situations that have far-reaching implications. And one of the first places those problems surface are in the classroom.
There are so many different reasons why our kids are troubled, and sometimes it's just life. Nobody plans on a foreclosure. Nobody plans on being homeless. Nobody plans on a divorce or separation. And these things affect our kids so heavily, but yet we just want them to be okay.
The trauma that children suffer varies, but the problem of poverty is prevalent. In fact, according to the Georgia Partnership for Excellence in Education, more than a quarter of Georgia's children are living below the poverty line in communities with little or no access to high-quality public education, health care, and community support. According to federal poverty guidelines, a family of 4 in Georgia living in a neighborhood not unlike this, with a household income below $24,600, is living below the poverty line. Experts say that by the age of 3, the brain is 85% developed, and without those basic needs, children have a hard time developing properly.
We know when kids experience toxic stress and children living in poverty experience greater levels of toxic stress, that can actually change their brain chemistry and how they react.
Then there's mental illness. The Department of Juvenile Justice tells us last year, in short-term facilities alone, 40% of the kids in detention required ongoing mental health services. That number rose to 60% in long-term facilities.
Approximately 55% of all youth that come to our juvenile justice system in Georgia have a diagnosed mental health issue. So that is something that we've seen grow over the years.
We see a lot of kids with substance abuse issues. Of the kids on the mental health caseload, about 81% of them last year had some sort of substance use diagnosis.
The system also sees kids with mood disorders, depression, and anxiety. And sometimes anxiety can come from how a child is treated.
At this point, it's kind of a chicken and egg. Right? It is a cycle that keeps continuing. It's the expectation that your black male students are going to give you a problem, and then they give you a problem because you expect it. So there is the stigma, the stereotype of the dangerous black male. The dangerous black male starts at about 8 or 9 years old.
Dr. Kanika Bell is an associate professor of psychology at Clark Atlanta University. She says studies show black boys are more likely to be put out of the classroom and more likely to receive harsh punishments.
They're more likely to have files that are filled with incident reports compared to all of their counterparts.
State officials say they are committed to setting juveniles up for success to give them a sense of hope instead of anxiety and fear. Next time, we'll take a look behind the numbers and how the Department of Juvenile Justice is able to track the success of the changes being made.